Well, so you really do challenge yourself to pursue excellence. You're challenging yourself to constantly reach for more, but yet you're really saying it's okay if it all goes away tomorrow.
Absolutely.
How are you okay with that?
I think that if I don't want to get super spiritual, but I think that if you find your true peace and fulfillment in your spiritual beliefs, then these earthly things matter a little bit less. And so for me, my connection with my spiritual beliefs are what grounds me for real. There is definitely this earthly self that wants to continue to succeed in all of those things, but that is not what I need in life. What I need is to have that connection with my spirituality. And so for me, that is kind of what I think of as duality.
I want to break that down, but I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Okay.
But I want to take what I just heard, reflect it, and kind of see if I'm getting it right.
Yeah.
So your identity is not wrapped up in what you do, actually.
Correct.
You're telling me your identity is so much deeper than that, but you still feel this drive to pursue passion, excellence, your craft, the things that were put in you to do. And so you're always striving, okay, I just broke through this. My confidence level, I can do anything. Now I need to reach for more. But you're still not attaching your identity to that.
Correct. If you want to get very deep with it, I attach the identity of John Panichella to that, but I don't attach the identity of my soul to that.
That's interesting.
And so my soul is not necessarily the same person as I am. Like in the afterlife, whatever people believe, I won't be John Panichella. I'll be a soul. So John Panichella is very aware of that and able and desires to succeed on the earthly sense, but my true peace is that my soul is content because I am fulfilled in that relationship with the spirituality that I have, and I am fulfilled in the relationship with my friends and family and seeing those things. That is what really keeps me going.
I want to push you one more question there, and if we go way too
no, I'm like I didn't know we were getting into this side of things.
You're bringing up like
do
incredible things. So, do you believe in your eternal state or disembodied state that you will have that you will have a continuous identity with who you are? Because you're saying I'm not going to be John in that state, but do you still believe that that's you in that state?
Unclear, to be honest. I haven't figured that part out of it yet, which of course, I mean, I haven't figured it out. It's not like I know all the secrets to life. For me personally, I have not figured that out yet. I do feel that they are separate beings and entities. I think that there are things that my soul needs that John Panichella doesn't need, if you will, and vice versa. Like my soul doesn't need to have like a diamond earring and gold chain or things or like success in a career, and the same way that my body doesn't need the things that my soul needs, if that makes sense.
I think I get the dualism that you're talking about, but so then you identify John more with the earthly appetites and needs and
right. Also,
pursuits.
I don't talk in the third person. Like I promise. Like this is like we got way off topic here, but I promise. Like if you meet me, I'm like very normal, and I'm not going to be like, oh, you have just met John Panichella. Now let me introduce you to someone else. Like I promise that is not how I am. I'm like trying to explain this in the most like simple way. I promise.
Well, I'm dragging you into like you're touching on things, and I'm like I'm fascinated with what you're talking about there, and not just to get into conversations about metaphysics, but actually really interested in how you seem to have such a healthy perspective of what it is to be both ambitious and yet content.
Right.
Yeah,
it's hard to put a finger on that, honestly. I don't know if I'm just wired that way, or that's definitely not true because I wasn't always like this. I think it is I do a lot of like gratitude practices. So I do wake up every morning and say what I'm grateful for. And when I go to bed, I do the same thing. So those are things that I've done for years at this point.
What's that routine look like? How does that play out?
It can be different. So sometimes I'll wake up and put on like rain sounds, or I'll put on like a little meditation music, and then I would just sit there and close my eyes and think about the people I'm grateful for, the things I'm grateful for, the career that I'm thankful for, the house, the body, like everything that is keeping me alive. I think that is something that I try to remind myself of. And then I always try to be grateful for maybe the things that are challenging me, or maybe the people that I feel are crossing me, because they're also building who I am. They're building my story. So I need those things. Without those challenges and the negative, if you will, I wouldn't know how to experience positive things. And so I'm grateful for both sides of things. But that can be, again, simple meditation. Sometimes I will write it down in my phone, or sometimes I'll have a journal that I'll write it in. I have started journaling, so I do that once a day. I have like a little app and it has like a prompt, and that's more just for my own creativity and sanity. So it'll be a different prompt every day, and I'll just write like a paragraph or two about whatever that prompt is. And so that could be as simple as like, what is your favorite food, or what is a core memory from your childhood? And those vary in different length, but I just do like writing every day. Writing has always been at the center of my life and career. That's how I started everything. I was writing poetry in like second grade and third grade. That's when I knew I wanted to be a writer. And that's how the blog came to be.
That's cool. And you're not just talking about like, a vague attitude of gratitude. It's like, no, you have very concrete practices, almost disciplines that you're implementing on a daily routine.
Yes, it's funny you say that, because I just had this conversation with some friends who they ask about like, oh, how are you so spiritual, and how are you so like fulfilled and things like this? And because, they buy the crystals at the shops in LA and they do these things, and I'm like, those are all just like physical representations of the actual action. Though I'm grateful because I've spent 10 years practicing gratitude, not because I put a crystal in my living room. Do I have the crystal? Yeah, I think it's a nice reminder of the actual action that I take every day. And that's why I'm grateful. It's not because I buy something and think it's going to heal me and make me better. I am disciplined in those things. I work very hard to make sure that I am practicing gratitude and reminding myself that I'm fulfilled. Or if I'm having an off day, reminding myself that there are 10 great things going on at the same time. You have to take those steps. If you're not doing the work, there is no fulfillment or gratitude that's just going to come out of nowhere.
I love what you're sharing. I want to emphasize it more because we care very much about talking about spirituality, talking about having a fulfilled life, living into flourishing. And you're touching on something that I know there's so much hunger out there in our audience for spirituality. There's a deep hunger. I think people, they know that we are more. And yet, I think there's this idea that spirituality is something that just kind of happens, or it's something that you don't really work at. And that's not true.
No.
It would be like any other discipline or any other thing we try to be proficient in. You practice spirituality.
And you become better at it as you practice it. You feel more from it when you connect to it more, and you can only connect to it more by doing it more. So if that's going to church every weekend, then that is something that you do because it grows that relationship for you. It's not... You can't just like walk into a church and come out and be like, oh, everything is great, everything is better. You haven't practiced the spiritual.
You're going to an ignorant church
You haven't done the work, if you will. I mean, an athlete doesn't go out and play a game without practicing every day before that.
Yeah, and you can have fun playing the game, and but if you're going to get better at it, that actually is the proper term, religion. Religion is to practice our faith. It's to practice our spirituality. And I know that religion gets a totally horrible connotation to, but that's what it really means, is to implement and practice, and even the word habituate.
Yeah.
Because I don't believe a lot of the things that we do in life are necessarily things that we're always intentionally choosing. I do think that we have agency to make intentional choices, but I'd say probably 90 to 99% of what we probably end up doing in a given day is really just living out our habits, living out our character, living out our nature. And especially when we react, let's say, you're talking about practicing gratitude for all the good things, but there's bad days.
Yeah.
There's negative things. And what is it to react to that with gratitude?
Totally.
You got to practice that.
You have to practice, and you can still fail. I've had a terrible week, and so I'm like working on that as well. But you remind yourself of those things, little things like this, like coming here today was something that I said, you know what? Okay, work has been stressful, but I'm grateful to go do this. And that's something that pushes you through. There is always something to look forward to.